In the last video, I talked a little bit about your geometry tools. Again, you notice every time that I do a construction, every time you do a construction, do not use the little tick marks to measure. We're just using the space in between the radius. So every time that we have the same radius, it means that I keep this setting on my compass every time. To construct a regular hexagon, first start with a circle. Now this construction that I'm using seems to be slightly different than the intuitive one that you guys came up with in class, but it's actually the same. So first I'm going to do the construction, and then I'll tell you how it's the same. So we're starting here with a circle of a certain radius. Any radius, just make it fit on the paper. Then we're going to pick up the point of the compass, and we're going to mark off around the circle 6 arcs. 1, 2, 3. Now notice every single time that I do these arcs, I am picking up my compass and putting it at the intersection of the arc that I just drew. Ooh, I have a little problem there. Oh, problem solved. So now, when you get back to your arc, you should only make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 arcs. And if you did it perfectly, then your original arc that you did should meet up with the other one. As you can see, I didn't do it perfectly. Now, with the intersection points, connect every one of the intersection points using your ruler. Now, this construction does take some practice. As you can see, I just did it and it didn't come out perfectly. So I'm going to show you guys one more time, see if I can maybe perfect it a bit. But I also want you guys to keep in mind that even when you're doing the constructions on your own, I mean, when I finish, it's pretty close. I can see that there is some difference between this segment and this segment. So I'm going to do that one again. So when you're doing the quiz, just keep that in mind. Try not to work through things too quickly. As I just demonstrated, you might have to do it again. Keep your compass aligned. Also, maybe this time I'm going to try to be more aware about where I hold my compass. I might have pressed down too hard on the last one. So when you pick it up, you can place it here, but maybe switch to the top handle of your compass so you're really using your delicate skills here. Probably went through that too quickly. Hopefully this one will work better. Bear with me. I'm not going to be fast forwarding this, so you're just going to have to watch it. Notice every time I'm just being really careful where I place my compass. Whew, that's pretty good. This was my first arc, and this was the arc that I just drew, and you can just see that it just meets up again. I actually just moved that so it meet up, but you can see that it just meets up again. So that's going to turn out a lot better than my first one. Connect the intersection points. Also, when you're connecting intersection points, don't draw dots on the intersection points. Actually use the fine intersection, the original intersection of the arc intersecting. Also be careful, see there, I'm a little bit off. I'm going to actually go back and draw that segment one more time just to make that a little bit more precise. These types of constructions, you have to be really precise, because if you're not, then it ends up being off at the end and your congruency doesn't work. Okay. All right, so that was a much better one. Now you can see that these segments seem to be a lot more regular. Oh, that's so much better. Okay, let me go through how this relates to our original construction. So, when you started out, you had to draw an equilateral triangle. So in this case, you would have had to draw an equilateral triangle like between here and here. Okay, so imagine you have your segment here and there. That's your first circle there. You would have then picked up your compass, and from the other point, you would have drawn another equilateral triangle. Okay? You would have marked off a point right there, and here you would have your first equilateral triangle. Then you had to draw another two equilateral triangles sharing the base. So let's say you shared this base. So you have this equilateral triangle here, okay, with that base, and you would have had to mark off and then pick it up and mark it off. Now, going through that whole thing, starting with your first segment, which represents the first circle, then you would have to do 6 more equilateral triangles in order to get these 6 bases. So your first base that you drew was not part of the regular hexagon. That was the size of the hexagon. Your additional circles that you drew in order to draw these other bases would be your 6 additional circles that were intersecting to make your 6 equilateral triangles. So once again, the first segment is your first circle. Then you'd have to draw 6 more in order to get the 6 circles surrounding one circle. Now some of you guys made this connection that really you saw one circle and then 6 circles, and then you don't have to actually draw the entire circle in this construction. You just need the intersection of the 6 arcs that are using the same distance between. That's how we get the same distance in between. And we also know that in an equilateral triangle, each angle is 60 degrees, and there are 360 degrees in a circle here, so that's why you have 6 arcs. Beautiful.